Wow, look at that distortion too. Holy crap. About a level place that I can find. I'm actually hoping that I get less traffic here and I can possibly zoom down there and see the traffic light that's way down at the other end, but I don't know if I'll ever see that. But I'll go further down the road. There's another little spot up here I'd like to pull over and see what I can see. But this is a fairly flat road. Yes, it does have a little hump in it here and there, but as far as its flatness is, it's pretty darn flat. We're going to try to zoom out here and see what we can see. See how these vehicles kind of melt into the road. Also, like I said, I'll go further down the road past those orange signs, which are they look about a mile away. And you can see the one over here on the other side of the road that's kind of melting right into the road. Just like what we see out on the water, the objects just kind of melt into each other. It melts into its own reflection. And I do believe I see a street light up here, but it's so distorted from the distortion, you can't make it out. It's either that or there's something else further up there, but as I go down the road and get closer, we'll see what we can see. And like I said, I'm going to drive down here a little further and see how it works out. And we'll drive down there to those, just past those orange markers out there in that construction zone. Plus two, if I lower my camera down lower, which I might also do, and I brought a telephoto lens, I don't know if I'll be able to use it, but what I'd like to do too is try to lower my camera down while it's running, and then I'll level it back out. So give me a second here. And this is definitely not the lowest my camera can go. Let me zoom back here so I can center it back up on the road here. I'm hoping I don't get run over. And as see, if I lower my camera down, I start getting more mirroring closer down I go. So I'm just changing my angle, and here comes a police officer that might stop and ask me what the hell I'm doing. But you can see as we further our angle out, it changes our view, and all these objects just seem to start melting due to all kinds of things. So we are experimenting with mirages and how they react with objects. So I'm going to take a look behind me and see if that cop keeps going. Yep, he's not going to bother me, I don't think. And when I get to the next spot up here, I'll even lower my camera down lower. But yeah, you can see the distortion. I don't care, I could use manual focus and it's not going to change a thing. Because this is just heat, like a heat wave, miraging effect going on. And like I say, the lower I lower my camera, the more things get cut off because I'm changing my angle of view. And it does look like there's lights up there, street lights, which I'll have to drive to try to figure out exactly how far those street lights are away. But that's on the Hernando Citrus County line up there. And I can do a measurement. But you can see this distortion occurring. So you take your pick on what you see and how this miraging effect works on land. It does the same thing on water, people. You just don't see it. It isn't as pronounced on the water as it is on the land. So again, you take your pick. Land or water, you get the same results. Things get distorted. They get all out of whack. And they just melt into each other. It just melts into its own reflection. So again, that's I can try to focus it in on clouds that well up above, well away, and then kind of lean down or bring my camera back down and see what I get. But I think I'm going to wind up getting the same kind of distortion that I would get out on the water. So I'm going to drive down the road here, do a 15-minute video here, or maybe I'll just cut it short because I think I got enough footage right here. And we'll go down further. Alright. Okay, there's the street light up there. And again, I think I'm going to get a better view when I go to another area, but I'll get farther away, and you can see these other street. They're construction. They're workers, and behind me is. I'll make sure I turn around and show you what's behind me. But you can see everything out there is just getting that mirage look, the distortion, and you can see this, blending of these vehicles melting into their own reflections. So I thought I was seeing these street lights from farther back down there. Now when I get farther down, I'm gonna turn around and go back the other way. And when I get to, there's a hill behind me that's quite a ways back, but I'm gonna stop before that hill and try to zoom down here and catch these lights and show you how much lower to the ground that they would be. Heck, I think I'm even catching the next street lights up there too. Which let's keep an eye on them and see if they change colors. See if it goes to green, then I'll know that I'm on another street light that's even farther up. Yep, look at there, they went to green. So there's another street light, but in perspective, those street lights are pretty much at the same height. But look how much lower they look. Oh, where'd they go here? Oh, I lost them. Huh. Oh, there they are. It's kind of hard, man. It's remote I got. But look at where those are compared to those. And you know darn well that they're pretty much at the same height. And look at the distortion. Just like the boats that get out there on the water, they get so distorted that you cannot tell the difference. Now, I did cut my compensation down a little bit to cut back on that lighting some, but you know, when we zoom back here, we get the same reaction that we get out over the water. The only difference here is we got land in the background for a reference point to know. This is crazy. Even the road, even the vehicles crossing the road down there across are really getting distorted quite a bit. And let's see if we can get to the other side a little bit here and show you vehicles coming back the other way, which I don't know if I can do, but there is a spot in between here and there too that I'm going to want to go back to. I was there the other day and rethinking everything, got out and did some video from there. So he's got some footage, but he also was hand holding his camera, so I don't know how sturdy he was. Plus two, I'm sitting in front of my truck, which, like I said, I hope I don't get run over. But let me zoom back here. And I think where my camera's at, you'll be able to see the signs right behind me. I'm going to turn it around. They're not far from my truck. I'm maybe 40-50 feet away from these other signs here. Okay, so you can see this one down my truck, down the edge of my truck, which it's right behind my truck. And that's what we were getting before. Alright, so I'm hoping you can hear me too, because over the traffic. But all I'm going to do is drive down to that light and then get a turn around so I can get a measurement of how many miles I'm shooting to that first light. Alright, not the second one, but the first one. And like I said, that's at like the county line road between Hernando County and Citrus County. Alright, so I'm going to shut down and do another video the other direction. Okay, I'm at Ponce de Leon Boulevard, and the other side is West Miss Maggie Drive. And this is actually 98. It's called 98. I can't see a sign that shows it, but this is where the street light is. And what I'm going to do is step out here to this corner. Like I said, as long as I don't get run over. And I'm going to shoot the other direction. I'm going to shoot southward and see what I can pick up. But I'm gonna have to shut my camera off and focus it in for a long distance shot and see what I get. All right, so let's see what happens. See what kind of miraging I get down here. They don't have much of a shoulder of a road, so I do have to be careful that I don't get my ass run over here. I'm getting a little more wind here because I don't have anything blocking me out from this wind. But you can see here, wow. I am going to give you a full zoom back of this. And I don't even have my camera that low to the ground. I mean, it is low to the ground, but it's not as low as I could get it. We got some clouds moving along the edge here too. And you can see that, you know, the road ain't perfectly flat. I'll probably never find a perfectly flat road. But this is pretty darn flat in comparison to the other place that I videoed. And it was 2.3 miles from that first place I stopped, and then I went about half that distance to the orange signs, and then to this light here. So I'm not exactly sure if I could see where I was at the first time, but you can see how that miraging really affects your vision. Affects objects, and you know, even with these little lump dips in the roadway, they're like swells out on the water that will again make things vanish from the bottom up. So again, you can look at that as part of the flat earth proof. Swells and waves will block out lower bottoms of any object that's out there, because you're going to resolve the closer swell than you are going to resolve the swell on the other side, because it creates that miraging effect at the top edge, and then everything just melts together. And I'm going to stop at another place about halfway in between and see what I get from that direction. And actually, I'll be able to film the cars coming to me and the cars going away from me in the middle area. I figured that it's called Zebra Finch Road. So, wow, even look at the light off the windshield coming from the other direction over there. Crazy shit, but you can really see it occurring. Big old truck went by, garbage truck. I was asked to find a more flatter road to show this occurring on, and I checked around, and this is one of the flattest roads in my area, or levelest roads. So again, I wanted to show you the difference, and this isn't even at full zoom. That's full zoom right there. And you wouldn't even know where the horizon line would be here. You would have no idea where that horizon line is due to all that mirroring. Look at that. So, people, wake up and smell the coffee beans for once. That all these things play a role in how we see, and you cannot see over great distances due to this right here. Due to this effect of the miraging, the distortion, the mirroring, whatever you want to call it, diffracted light from the sun, deflecting off the road or refracting off the road, however you want to call it. You know, we could work it both ways. You see light, sunlight reflecting off the cars, which causes a distortion. And then you have, you could say that the light is deflecting off the roadway, causing the miraging. And I mean, look at even that light flashing off the garbage truck way up there. Damn it, I wish it wasn't so windy here. Maybe my next spot I can use my vehicle for the wind block and not get all of this shaking. But I'm going to zoom back a little bit so you can look at it in this direction so I'm not too zoomed in. And we'll that'll take a little bit of the shaking out. But look at all that mirage. And like I said, I can lower my camera down more. And I don't even know if sticking a telephoto lens on here would make any damn difference. The only other thing I could do is maybe try to cut some of the compensation exposure down and see what we get, which I will do that and see if it helps. Or, you know, if I know if I turn my compensation up higher, it'll blow everything out. Okay, so let me try cutting my compensation exposure all the way down to -2. Okay, I darkened it up, which just makes it harder to see unless I got a light source. Or as I zoom back, a lot of the light that you see is headlights on the cars coming the other direction and reflection off of the vehicles. Let me turn it up to -1 so we can actually see a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Got refraction of the light off the windows of the cars and off the vehicles, and then you have diffraction or deflection of the light off the roadway causing the miraging. So it's pretty interesting. Now, like I say, I'm hoping I can go down to the other end down here at Zebra Finch, and I'm going to measure that by my mileage on my odometer to Zebra Finch and then show you both directions, back towards this light that I'm at now and back toward the other direction. Alright? So let me just let it set here for a minute. Let you see some vehicles going by. Bug going up my shirt. Yeah. I hope that wasn't no little wasp or something. Believe me, folks, I'm not out of focus. This is just all the distortion, just like we get out on the water. And sometimes I think the land is always worse than the water, because sometimes on the water, I don't get all that miraging, and I can actually follow boats out to where they just get so small they disappear, or they melt into the water, not melt into the mirage. Or there might be a little line of mirage there that it melts into, but it isn't as pronounced as this is. Alright? Alright, I'm going to shut it off, do my odometer reading, put it at 0 from where I'm taking off here, and then I'll tell you how many miles away from this light I am. Okay, I got some power lines down there that I know I'm focused in on. And there's the street lights. I'm 2.3 miles away from those street lights. And let's see if I can't pick up the other street lights that are farther back. So those are 2.3 miles back. And I don't know, like I said, if I can pick up the other street lights that are further back. I know they're going to be lower. And then these cars may block me out from seeing those other ones. Which they would be over 3 miles away. If it wasn't for the distortion, I might be able to see those. Back up just a little bit so we can watch these cars coming down the road. I'm telling you, this road is pretty darn flat. Like I say, if anything, it's got like swells like you would have out in the water out on here. And of course, with all this traffic, it's kind of blocking us out from seeing that other lane. will turn my camera around and zoom back the other direction too as well. And you can see how this grass line here in the center medium, it's a 4-lane highway, 2 lanes going one way, 2 lanes going another, and how it just melds in together down there by the light. This is something people really need to take into consideration, how this miraging really does affect our vision. You know, these globers don't, and I don't really want to call them globers because I was a glober myself, you know, believed in the globe and how it worked, and, you know, seeing the sun going over the horizon, this really makes you think twice about it. You know, these cars are going into low, very low dip areas. They're not, you know, going over any major hills. This is pretty flat. And what I can try to do, which I've done before, is mount my camera in my truck. I don't have nothing really to wash my windows off with, but I can try to wipe it off where my camera goes and drive down the road and kind of show you, as long as I don't get no heavy vibration, that this road is pretty darn flat, pretty darn level. So again, you know, you're looking at things that looks like they're coming up over a horizon, but they're not. It just apparently looks that way. And if I zoom back, I mean, you'll see how far back these cars are actually from where I'm at. So you can see the rear end of my car and or my truck. And let me try to zoom in on this sign right here. It says zebra finch on it. It's going to be kind of blocked off by this pole, but you can see it's Zebra Finch Avenue. And if you go on Google Earth and Zebra Finch to Ponce de Leon or 98, you'll see that it's approximately 2.3 miles. And know that I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not going to do all the research for you. You know, you might have to do some yourself. If you want to call me a liar and say that I'm lying about the distance between those lights down there and here, you go right ahead. But if you do your research and you do your checking, you'll find out that I am correct. That those lights down there are 2.3 miles away. And let me see if I can pick them up again. There they are. And there's lights that are further back, like I said, that I might be able to pick up if I didn't have all this distortion going on. I think I'm at full zoom now. And here we got another, what looks like a garbage truck coming. And even look underneath. Oh, yeah. There you go, babies. Now, another thing I could do, which I'll do afterward, I'm going to turn my camera around and face it the other direction. And I'm going to have to level out my camera here. Best I can. And we'll show you that other direction here. And that does go up to a little hill way up there at the top. And that's quite a ways away too, that little hill. But I tried to pick out the flattest place on this road to give you the best view that I could. Now I could measure to that hill up there too. And we might try to do that. But again, remember, if I lower my camera down more, you're even going to get more of a miraging effect, which, why? My angle. My angle is what's going to cause that. Wow, I mean, I'm actually surprised I can see that hill that far up there. Because again, I think that's another 2 miles at least to that hill, and you can see at the very top of that hill how things get miraged up there too on the tops of the hills. So you would think that that is the mirage or the mirror line. Now let's see if we can see this vehicle right here. These vehicles. Let me back off just a tad bit. Perspective. 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 See that last vehicle there. I want to lower my camera down lower, almost as low as I can go with it, and face it back the other direction, because I think the other way is a lot flatter back to that light. So again, I'm going to shut it off and lower my camera down and shoot back the other direction. Alright? And here we go. I gotta shut everything down though. I am 2 foot off the road right here. And you can see how that makes a difference too with the oncoming traffic. And I don't even know if I can see the lights up there now. Oh, there's a lot of traffic coming. Yep, there's the light. Let me get it up here. Once these vehicles get out of the way, we'll be able to see the traffic light. Maybe if the cars quit coming. And there it is. There's the red one. See if we can see it go green. You even see more distortion. My light turned green so we can all see it green and know that there it is. It was. Back off just a tad bit here. You see that better yet? You see the red light. spurs all over me too. Holy crap. And look at wow. There's the green light. And I'm going to back out just a little bit and show you that different perspective. Of how these cars look like they're coming up over the horizon, up over big hills or whatever, but that ain't really what we're seeing. Just all that miraging going on, people. Let's see if we can see cars going back the other direction. And see how even those orange signs are melting into one another. Wow, look at that. Cut off on the bottom. And there's no way that my camera can resolve that or render it due to the miraging effect, the mirroring effect, whatever you want to call it. It has everything to do with what we see even out on the water. It's perspective, and we're being blocked by the miraging effect. Now, I do have another road that I'm going to try to go to. It also is pretty flat, but it kind of goes upward, but it's still pretty flat. So again, we'll try that and see how that works out. I wish I could get out in the middle of the road, but I really don't trust people here. They don't freaking see you. They'll run your ass over. We live in a state where there's a lot of old people, and those old people can't see very well. So again, I'm going to try to mount my camera in my truck.